A decentralized network running across thousands of computers can mint overnight millionaires. Within hours, that exact same network can wipe out billions of dollars in accumulated wealth. We saw this play out when a sudden proposal of heavy U.S. tariffs on Chinese software triggered immediate panic. $19 billion evaporated from the crypto market in a single 24-hour window. Extreme drops like this prompt prominent financial figures like Robert Kiyosaki to sound the alarm on a looming historic market crash. His advice to investors is to steer clear of digital illusions and buy real, tangible assets like physical silver. While Western analysts argue over whether digital coins are a safe haven or a ticking bubble, the Islamic world is asking a different question. They are trying to figure out if these assets should even exist in a believer's portfolio. Right now, Islamic scholars are deeply fractured on the permissibility of cryptocurrency. There is no single consensus on whether an observant Muslim can own or trade it. Take the influential Pakistani cleric Mufti Taqi Usmani. He recently issued a fatwa declaring that purchasing goods with cryptocurrency is strictly prohibited, haram. His rationale is that a digital token does not qualify as mal, the Islamic legal definition of real wealth. Yet, across the globe, other established religious institutions like Darul Fiqh have reviewed the exact same technology and declared it halal, recognizing it as a completely legitimate currency. Top Islamic scholars are looking at the exact same digital asset and delivering 3 completely contradictory rulings: prohibited, conditionally permissible, and fully permissible. To understand how they reach these different conclusions, we have to look closely at how the technology actually functions. When Satoshi Nakamoto launched Bitcoin, the stated goal was to build a peer-to-peer cash system. The code was written specifically to let people trade value directly, completely bypassing central banks and government regulators. To achieve that, the currency exists entirely as digital digits on a distributed public ledger, known as the blockchain. Despite the popular stock photos you see, there is zero physical form or metal backing. This animated chart illustrates the extreme, erratic price swings of major tokens. Because the token lacks any baseline physical asset value or government backing, its price is driven entirely by market sentiment. This uncouples the asset from tangible reality, creating the potential for massive profits and equally devastating crashes. In Islamic finance, that level of extreme volatility directly triggers concerns of ghudar, a legal term meaning excessive uncertainty or hazard in a transaction. This brings us to the first major scholarly faction. For these jurists, the absence of physical form and government backing means cryptocurrencies are fictitious numbers. Because they are driven largely by hype, trading them is viewed as pure speculation, crossing the line into prohibited gambling. For this group, the very thing that makes crypto so popular in the tech world, its total decentralization and lack of a central authority, is exactly what makes it spiritually and legally invalid as wealth. A second group of scholars takes a more moderate stance. Bodies like AAOIFI argue that blockchain technology itself is neutral and not inherently haram. The problem is the ecosystem built around it. This diagram shows the specific filters this faction applies to determine if a crypto trade is halal. An investor must strip away modern exchange features like margin trading and futures. They must also avoid staking their coins to earn a fixed yield, as that closely mirrors riba, or prohibited interest. The final condition for this faction requires looking at the token itself. Investors are only permitted to buy spot tokens that possess genuine utility and solve real-world problems. Meme coins created purely for internet jokes and price speculation are rejected. Under this ruling, the digital coin is innocent. The burden falls entirely on the investor to dodge the prohibited traps hardwired into modern crypto exchanges. The third faction, which includes groups like Darul Fiqh, relies on a sociological definition of money. They argue that historically, currency only has value because of social concurrence, the collective agreement by a society that a specific item holds purchasing power. If millions of people agree that a digital entry on a blockchain has value, and they willingly exchange it for real-world goods and services, then it meets the criteria. It legally qualifies as mal, or wealth, under Islamic law. The conclusion here is straightforward. If society trusts it as money and uses it as money, it is money. That makes it halal to use. But it also means those holdings are officially subject to zakat, the mandatory Islamic wealth tax. Today, hundreds of millions of people use digital assets for daily trade, and major payment processors have integrated blockchain technology into their networks. But the massive economic risks warned about by traditional investors like Kiyosaki remain. The physical danger to your savings during a market crash is just as real as the theological debate surrounding the coin's validity. For a Muslim investor, participating in these markets requires a careful balancing act. You have to survive the erratic price swings while strictly adhering to religious boundaries that forbid riba and gharar. Do not enter this market based on hype alone. Study the underlying code, acknowledge the high probability of loss, and seek guidance from a scholar who understands the technical mechanics of your specific trade.